Howdy gang, Michelle here from Love to Loom, and today I am bringing you a new pattern that I created for a wrap or a shawl. And the reason why I decided to do this is because I get a ton of requests from people asking me, what can I use for the Shawl In A Cake that I got on sale, or the mandala that I got on sale, because it's a pretty thin yarn. And we all went crazy when Lion Brand had the, 10 for 10 or the 5 for 10 sale. Guilty. And so I am going to show you guys how to do this. And for this particular one, I am using Mandala from Lion Brand. And this is a 3-weight, so it is a lightweight yarn. And in this particular one, it's 590 yards. And I've only used one skein. I'm almost done. I have just a little bit left in this skein, but I am using my KB 5/8 gauge all in one. Now I know right now you're going, wait, Michelle, what? This is a 3-weight and you're using a 5/8 gauge that's pretty big? Yes. The reason why is because you get this really beautiful, now I haven't steamed this to block it out yet, obviously, but you get this beautiful design. It's nice and lacy. It's very open. It's perfect for a spring or a summer evening out, whatever you like to do. Now, obviously, you can kind of get a little bit more of the design here. And the inspiration behind this is here in Washington, where I live, Washington State, we have these flowers. They're called Larkspurs. Some people refer to them also as Foxgloves. And they have this design in them where the flower itself grows almost tubular-like, and then it sprouts out these petals or leaves, and it kind of looks like this, where the leaves come out and the petals come out on both sides. And that's really what inspired me. They're starting to come out now that the weather is changing and spring is upon us. But you can use actually a regular all-in-one. You can use a 28-inch loom. You can use 38. It's really all up to you. This is done in multiples of 5, so you can make it whatever size you want. If you're a smaller person, now this one, who I'm hoping to give this to as a gift if I ever get to see them again, is a little bit on the smaller size. But once I steam this, it's gonna stretch out a little bit more, and this is going to be I would say, like, right now it's about 16 inches, so altogether it's going to be close to 20 once I steam it and everything and block it. And if you want it wider, you could totally go wider. It's completely up to you. I am going to show you how easy this is to do, and I already have the written pattern done. Now obviously I've not done it, so I have a coming soon picture here. But you can also use, now for this one, like I said, on the loom that I'm using right now, I have 44 pegs marked. And the reason why I have 44 is because, like I said, it's in multiples of 5. And normally I will do 1 peg on each end, as what you guys have known if you've ever done any of my stuff, as edge pegs. And that gives it this nice clean edge on the side. Now, again, this is not steamed or blocked yet, but as you can see, it gives it that nice clean edge. It's not the turn and wrap and loose edges or anything like that. And I did 2 on each end instead of 1. So it gives it this nice little border effect. And then I did a 5-set garter for the end. Okay, so 5 sets, meaning 1 row knit, 1 row purl, back and forth. So that's 1. And then you do 5 of those, and it gives you a 10-inch, or excuse me, it gives you a 10-set garter for the edge, and then 2 edge pegs on each side, and it gives you that nice clean edge like that. Okay, so that's why I have 44. I have 2 additional on each end, so multiples of 5, so I have 40, and then 2 on each for the edge is 44. And with the instructions, if you guys prefer written over watching the video, I know some people are more written based, more people are visual and like the videos. So I do both as much as possible. Now for this one, if you've ever done any of my lace work before, whether it's Rainier Cowl or anything like that, I have a little tip or trick or hack, however you want to call it, that makes doing lace work much easier, and it will apply to this as well. So as you can see here, I have the written part here, and then I have the chart here because I know a lot of people are getting really comfortable with me doing the charts for them, and it's helping them expand out a little bit. So I have my legend here as far as what everything means. And as you can see on rows 2, 4, 6, and 8, it's just blank. That's because those are just going to be knitted. Okay. And for me, what works easier for me is I sometimes go backwards, which is the case with this here. And when I say backwards, I'm going to show you. So right now I ended on row 8 and I'm getting ready to start row 1. Now row 1 works in this direction, but for me, because it's easier with, you know, moving my yarn and everything like that. If we go this direction, then you have to grab from 5 and move it to 4 and everything like that. So this is where my little hack is going to come in handy for you guys. So let me get this out of the way. So as you can see, I'm going to move that out of the way. I've already knitted everything off. And if you guys use any of my videos, you'll also know, or watched any of my videos, you know that I use artist tape or masking tape, paper tape, whatever. Just not Scotch tape because it's a really pain in the butt to get off of the looms. But I like to mark my looms so that way when I'm working with things like this, especially lace, it's easy to know what row I'm on and what needs to be moved. So right now we're going to start on 1, and I know that I have to move 5 to 4. Okay, and this is where I'm going to show you when I say I work backwards, because as you can see, row 1 is worked right to left, and we're still going to do that, but I work backwards with that to make it easier to move my yarn overs, and I'm going to show you why. So let me get that out of the way. So right now my working yarn is over here, and I have already done my edge pegs. So my first and my second edge peg is already done. Now I'm going to start knitting this way, and I know that I have to move from my instructions. I have to move 5 to 4 on this particular round or this particular row. So I'm going to knit 5, and you're just going to do a U-knit or a true knit. No E-wrap with this at all. And the only time you're going to purl is on your edge pegs. So I knitted 5. Now I'm going to knit 4, and I'm going to go back to 5. I'm going to grab that working yarn and slightly tug it and move it over to 4. So now you can see 5 is empty, and I have 2 strands on 4. So now I'm just going to keep doing my knits. So I knit 3, 2, 1, and now I come up to the next section of 5. So I'm going to knit 5, and I'm going to knit 4. Then I'm going to come back to 5. I'm going to tug it lightly and drop it. Whoops. Drop it onto 4. And again, that leaves 5 empty and 2 on 4. So I'm going to turn my loom around a little bit, and I'm just going to keep doing that. So I'm going to knit 3, 2, 1, and then I start my next section of 5. So I'm going to knit 5 and 4, tug on 5, move that loop over to 4, and just keep going. And you're just going to continue this all the way down to the end. Now I'm in my next section. When I get to 4, I go back and I tug a little on 5, move that over to 4, and keep going. So that's why I say I work backwards when it comes to these, because it makes it a whole lot easier for me to move my yarn. Tug and move to 4. Now your tension is really important with this as well. I say it all the time in my videos, especially with lace work, is your hand is just there to guide your yarn. Don't beat it up, don't pull it, don't tug it, don't tighten it. You know, just let it go through your fingers, let it glide through your fingers, and Don't pull it super tight, because you're going to either A, break your yarn, B, break a hook, or C, break your loom, and none of that is fun. And this is the other reason why it's great to mark your loom, because you can move along pretty quickly and you know exactly where you're at and what needs to be moved when you get to that. So I'm coming up on my last section of 5. Move this one over to here. Let me turn my loom. And just knit this off to 1. Now I have my 2 edge pegs here. I'm going to knit, because I knit in this direction, and then when I turn, I'm going to purl those same 2 that I just knitted. And those 2 are my edge pegs. You can kind of see it there. Okay, so now I'm going to take row 2 and just knit everything back. Any of my pegs that are empty, like my 5 pegs, we're just going to work that yarn right across the front. Okay, so I just did my edge pegs, and now I'm just going to U-knit right back to the other end. Now, when you come up on these that have 2 on it, if it's too hard for you to knit both of them off at the same time, don't worry, you can knit them off one at a time. But if you're watching your tension and you're keeping it relaxed and loose like you should have no problem. So number 5 is empty. I'm just going to bring my working yarn right in front and then go and knit off the next one next to it, which would be peg 1. And just continue this. Whoops. Sometimes that'll happen because I didn't grab it properly. There we go. And I'm bringing my working yarn in front of my empty ones and just knit all the way back. And then we're going to repeat that, but instead of moving 5, we're going to move the ones that are on 4. And it moves along pretty quickly with this pattern. And the great thing about this is if you have to walk away, whether it's for a call, whether it's for family, whether it's for a pet, you know, whatever the reason you have to walk away. The great thing about this is if you mark it, you know exactly where you are when you come back, and you know what direction that you're going in. And the reason why is I'm going to show you this little tip right here. Now, I usually use a counter when I do a lot of mine. I have an app on my phone. Let me come around. I'm going to do these edge pegs real quick. There we go. And this last one. And now I'm just going to knit those and start over. So a little trick when you walk away, and if you left off, say here, and you go, well, I just knitted back and I don't know where I was. Actually, you can tell by which one has a yarn over in front. So as you can see here, these all have knitted pieces on it, but this one is pretty much empty except for the yarn in front. So I know I left off with 5. Now it's time to go to 4. And 4 is row 3. So I'm going to knit 2 and then carry over and then continue it all the way around. So last one I moved 5 to 4. Now I'm going to move 4 to 3. And it's the same exact thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit 5, and then I'm going to knit 4, and then I'm going to knit 3. So you always want to go knit 1 past where you're going to yarn over. So I know I have to yarn over 4, so I'm going to knit 3, then I'm going to come back to 4, lightly tug it, pull some excess out, and then move 4 over to 3. And I'm going to repeat that just like we did with 5 moving to 4. We're going to do 4 moving to 3. So knit 4, knit 3, grab 4, move it over to 3, and then you just want to repeat that all the way down. Coming up on 4, knit 3, tug it, move it, and then just keep knitting. And again, just make sure that you watch your tension. You don't need it super tight. Now, if you don't want something as lacy as this, because I use the 5/8 gauge, like I said, you can use a smaller gauge loom. If you want to do it on the KB premium looms, like the 72 peg or anything like that, you can totally use whatever loom that you want on this. If you want it a little heavier as far as the weight, you can use this with a thicker yarn as well, say like a 4 or a 5, even a 6. And just make sure that you're using the appropriate gauge for the yarn. Now, obviously, you don't want to use a 6 gauge, or excuse me, a 6 weight with a 3/8 gauge. It's going to be way too tight, and you're not going to see any of the laciness of it. And see, this works up really quick. Knit 4. Now I'm on my last set. Grab 4, move that over to 3, knit 2, knit 1, and then my 2 edge pegs. And then I'm going to turn around. Oh, my yarn got stuck. There we go. And I'm going to purl those last 2 that I just knitted to get my nice clean edge. And then I'm just going to knit all the way back to my first peg. And that's how easy it is. Once it's done, you want to make sure to leave enough of a good length of yarn to do your garter edge. You're going to do 5 sets of knit purl is 1 set, knit purl 2 sets. So you're going to do 10 altogether, 5 knit, 5 purl to do your edge. And then you're just going to do a super stretchy bind off and then steam block it, and you are done. So I'm going to finish mine here. You guys have a whole lot of fun creating this. I can't wait to see what everybody comes up with and your take on it, what loom you use, what size you use, and everything else. And be sure to stay tuned. I am going to come up with different ways that we can use up all that Shawl In A Cake and mandala yarn for everybody. So thanks for looming with me, gang. I appreciate all the love and support you guys give me. Happy looming. Stay safe. Bye-bye.